about to start.
Yeah. Yeah, put your phone away, man.
Damn, chill out. Some
What
of
are you
us
doing?
have girlfriends, right?
Way to rub it in, man.
I don't say anything to that. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Four Creators. See? I messed up the fucking name.
Four Creators. Anyways,
Yeah, go for
welcome
it.
back, guys, to episode number 12 of Four Creators by Creatives. We're excited to announce our newest guest, Mr. Tony.
Yeah.
Castaneda.
I don't want to mispronounce his
It's
last name.
Castaneda, right?
Castaneda. with
Okay,
an ñ.
Tony
Yeah.
Castaneda.
But it's weird. Do you guys ever, like, when you say Spanish words in English, you say, like, carne asada instead of, like, carne
yeah.
asada, you know?
Instead of saying-
Because sometimes you'll be like, oh, yeah, what'd you have? Or I ate carne asada for dinner. But then it sounds, like, kind of odd if you say, oh, I ate carne asada for dinner, you know? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
just,
gotta really
a long time
pronounce
ago, I
it.
stopped saying the ñ,
Yeah.
you know?
So you
And
say Tony Carne Asada. Is that what you say?
Tony carne asada?
Tony carne asada.
No, I get you. Yeah, I actually do catch myself doing that because it just sounds kind of weird to put so much emphasis
Yeah.
on the like Mexican part of it.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
so-
carne asada. It's like you don't say that. You're just
Yeah.
like, hi, carne asada tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Are
Absolutely.
you fluent in Spanish?
I am.
You are?
I would say I'm like 85% fluent.
Right on.
I used to be about like 50% fluent. I got to study abroad in Spain. So it brought it back up, you know.
Nice.
But ever since I realized that I was like losing my Spanish, like now I only talk to, you know, my mom in Spanish, my dad in Spanish. So
Just
If
to
you
keep
don't
it
practice
going.
that, you'll lose it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, dude.
oh.
I
So
think
maybe you should practice it more.
What's
on
your
Are you
this
losing
side.
it?
I speak Spanish
Bro, have
well.
you never heard him speak Spanish?
Bro,
it probably sounds a lot
I'm
like
fluent in
mine.
Spanish. I'm fluent in Spanish. Why are you talking shit? Don't you remember I lived in the motherland growing up?
And then we gotta do an episode in Spanish. I feel like he doesn't want
Oh,
to.
Bro,
hey,
he's
today's the day,
tripping.
man.
Ok, en español, ahora sí,
En
pues.
español, ok, bienvenidos otra vez a podcast.
Antonio Castaneda.
Episodio número 12 con Tony Castaneda. De creativos para creativos.
There you go. Shit.
Talk your shit.
He's showing up.
Talk
He's
your
showing
shit.
up.
Talk your shit.
All right,
No, but I am
man, no.
gonna pour up though,
Yeah.
cause Tony's looking at us like, where the shot at?
So
I know.
between-
well, we started talking Spanish and it just made sense, you know.
Tequila just rang a bell. Sheesh.
I didn't want to do it today, but I guess
Stop being a wuss, bro.
I'll do it for Tony. Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, man.
I can't believe we're just barely
I
meeting.
know. That's.
Yeah, by the way,
We've been friends for a long
I've-
time.
I've known this loser for a while, but
But it's crazy too, like how small of how small Reno is. You know of everyone, and you know like I know you love video games, man. And today's the
Big
first day, you know. So
Do you play video games too or not?
no, I never got into it.
No?
I used to play The Sims when I was younger,
that game was tight.
and I would always make Tony
Of course you know
Castaneda,
which
and then I would
games,
make Jessica
Of course I know.
Alba.
Why are you? What's with you today, bro? You woke up on the wrong side of the bed or what? Shava woke up today and chose to be a hater, bro. That's all
I
I'm
had a
saying.
long day today, man, but I'm sorry.
And so you're bringing it to the podcast.
No.
Where we're supposed to
Alright.
be nice and
Let's do
positive.
this shot, and then I'll get
Cheers,
over it.
guys. Cheers. 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 Oof.
Try not
Okay,
to
that
make
one-
a face, you know. I
That
told
one
myself.
didn't go down well for me today. Whew. Damn.
All right, man. So who are you? What are you doing here?
You want my-
Blatant.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I'm
Crack
cracking
them up,
open.
and if you want more flavors, I have
I'm
some.
trying to be drunk by the end of this.
Right.
podcast.
And I knew you like to drink, but I think you like Mike's, right?
I like what?
Mike's. Do you like Mike's?
Like
Like
drinks?
Mike's Hard Lemonade?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've always
I don't
seen
think
you guys drinking those, but I couldn't find any.
Raspberry one.
So I was like, oh,
No, I
I'll do-
love White Claws, man.
I'll do White Claws.
But
So-
my name's Tony Castaneda. Do I say to this camera?
You can
It's
talk
my
to
first
this
time.
one and
You-
that one.
You guys are taking my virginity. My name's Tony Castaneda, and I'm a videographer. You know, so
Videographer here in Reno.
Here in Reno?
Nevada. How long have you been doing it?
Oof. I think by myself, I've been doing it for 5 years, and then I started 2 years just second shooting,
Okay.
and then having also a full-time job. You know, so 2 years. Helping my mentor out before finally pulling the trigger and starting
Going
my
for
own
it.
business. So
Where were you working before?
Peg's Glorified Ham and Eggs.
For
man.
real?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the spot, dude.
If you're listening,
Please tell me
please
you've been
sponsor the
to
podcast.
There you go. Yeah,
Tell me you've been at Pegs.
What?
Have you
Pegs?
been at Pegs?
Oh, I have not.
Oh my god.
Bro, I don't
Bro,
go
this
out
man hasn't
ever.
done so much, it amazes me, bro.
I don't. All I do is work. What do you want me to do?
Shut
You
the
can
hell
eat
up.
too.
You
Well,
can
take me
make
then. Jeez.
All right. Who's the one that introduced you to spots already? Because you're always like, I don't go anywhere, bro.
Yeah, I really don't go out.
I can't believe you've never
man.
been to Pegs. That's like a classic here.
Yeah, man. It's #1 breakfast restaurant 10 years in a row. At least when I was there, I don't know.
I don't know if it is
I would always
anymore,
just tell the
but it's
customers.
still popping.
Yeah, so.
What were you doing there? Just like
I was working there, man, for I think I started my freshman year of college or sophomore year of college. And I was telling Chava before, like, I loved it, man. Like, just talking to people, you know, making that tip money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my business, too, like, once I started doing videography professionally, I would get it from Pegs. Like, I would tell people,
really?
and I would bring, like, business cards
Oh,
and stuff,
sick.
you know.
There you go.
So it started, like, working out, you know. But after a while, I think I finally, like, made a goal of, like, saving a certain amount of money before, you know, finally quitting.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Which is a smart way.
It's crazy, too. I remember... Chef came into Pegs once, and I was like working, and I think he had been doing photography professionally for like 2 years, and I like asked him for advice, and I was like, what, you know, do you
how much you
suggest,
charge?
yeah,
or-
do you suggest like me quitting? And he's like, dude, he goes, once you quit your day job, he goes, you will always like make it work, you know, like you will always find ways to keep making money, you know.
Yeah.
So I think after he said that, I think it probably took me like 6 months to finally quit. You
You're
know,
like,
but-
I'm gonna wait a bit and then do
yeah.
it.
So it was cool.
That's
And-
funny because he used to, him and like all the other guys like Connor and Luke and all of them were like all tell me the same thing when I was still at Patagonia. They'd be like, so when are you leaving?
Yeah.
And I was like the same way. I'm like, bro, give me some time.
Yeah.
like,
Well, you get so comfortable too, and it's just that like,
yeah.
you know,
It was like, let me save up a little bit of money and see if I can go for it. Because when you're doing it, it's easy to just be like, do it. Like how I give him a lot of shit and I'm like, just do it. But then at the same, I know
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
there where
yeah.
you're like, I have a good job.
Well, that's
bro,
what I was
like-
asking before.
Yeah,
I'm
we were
like-
talking about
I was
it,
like,
like-
how long will it take you to go full time? But some
could-
people don't want, you know, like it's like for me too. There's this one quote that I think it was actually the owner of Pegs who told me. She's like, if you want something to get done, give it to the busiest person. And I feel like I was always like that in college. Like I was always like involved in stuff. I always had a bunch of homework. I also had like other jobs. So when you're so busy, you just find a way to get everything done.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the hardest part about being like a business owner, being your own boss, is that you will sit there and you're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you wake up
It's
early
not
in the
for
morning.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's not, no.
It's hard. So it's funny. The pandemic's not funny, but the funny thing about this pandemic is a lot of people started working from home.
Yeah.
And I'm like asking everybody, like, how do you like it? And some people love it. Some people are like, I hate it. Like, I need
Yeah.
structure. I need someone to yell at me. I need to get dressed nice, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like get in
So-
that like work atmosphere.
I relate to
guess.
that. We were talking right before you got here late.
Bro, I showed up at 6:20 on the dot. It was
we were
literally
talking for a
Chavo
minute.
woke up and chose violence, man.
He really did. He
We were
just made me showed up early. I didn't show up late.
We were talking for a minute, okay?
What time did
So-
you get here, Tony?
Well, we created our own podcast
Yeah.
before you
Oh,
came back.
man.
That's how long it took you to
pre-recorded
get here.
one.
so,
and
so
then-
this one's just gonna get like cut.
this
and you-
part
So
two.
you're actually you're the guest on this.
Oh, sick. Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Oh my
So go
god.
ahead and look at this one. And
Yeah, hey
introduce
guys, I'm Nando. I'm glad to be here. Episode number 12. Thanks for having
No,
me.
we
No,
were
this
talking
episode
about
number one,
yeah. Episode number 1. This is
starting the
Tony
cycle.
and Chava podcast, the Carne Asada podcast.
The Carne Asada podcast.
No, we were talking and I've been busy with work and with photos, and I was telling him like whenever I take like a weekend off, I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. Like
Yeah.
I need to do something, you know. And I feel like having the job, having to get up in the morning and go, it just kind of forces me to like keep going throughout the day, you know.
When and do you guys think you'd ever want to like have an office outside of your room or house or?
I've had thoughts about it, and I think it would be cool to have like a creative space
Yeah.
where you just get out of your house at least.
Because there's even one point where me and Chef were talking about it. Like we were looking stuff up, and we're like, if you just kind of had what is it the space where everyone can go.
The creative space.
Yeah. Well, there's
Or-
a certain one in Reno.
The
the collective.
Yeah, the collective. Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was kind of it'd be like that, you know. But I think for me it's that, and I've read a lot of like self improvement books. But I noticed that like what I used to do is I used to put 1,000 things on my to do list, and there would be some important things that I needed to do. But then instead of doing the important things, I'd do like
The
laundry,
ones.
walk the dog, do everything else but the most important
Yeah.
part, which wouldn't happen if you left your house, you know.
Yeah,
True.
It's just when it's hard to you know, some people can do it, and more like power to them, where if they're at home and they have like a little office at their home, like they really do treat that as like I'm at work, you know. But I think for some people it's just I'm at home, so you get that comfort of like,
you know
I'm
what
home
it's
now.
like? You know, when the pandemic hit, everybody was working out from home.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, I can do weights, or I can just lay down on my bed for hours on end, you know?
The most
So,
fit
like,
I've ever gotten in my life was the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Because we made our garage into a little home gym, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just because it was downstairs.
Yeah.
But it was crazy.
Dude, I can't do it. I just can't. No, I have to get out.
Yeah.
Once I'm out the house, then I can go, you know? But, like, I have a little gym set up over there, and I never freaking use it. It's weird,
it's just weird, man. Like, there's part of you that you make your little spot at your house, and you're like, I'm gonna do all this, but then you also know it's your house, so you're like, do I gotta? Like, you don't have to, you know? So I have had thoughts, and it's funny you bring that up, because, like, I even wanted to talk to him about it, and anyone else that, like, wanted to get involved about just, like, all renting out a spot and just making it, like, our offices or something, because it's kind of cool to have a space like that with other people anyway, because you just kind of motivate each other.
Well, even so recently I went from I rebranded from Tony Castaneda Films to Castaneda Films, and it was just because I live with Fido, my second shooter / cousin / bitch. But so he's eventually going to quit his job. Right now it's slow season, you know. Told him that he didn't have to quit his job until, you know, like April or May. But every once in a while he'll take a day off, and we'll just have like a 5-hour work day. And it's insane how much you can get done when there's like someone holding you accountable.
Exactly.
You know? Because usually, like I said, I will walk around, do laundry, do other stuff, find ways to procrastinate. But if I see him like working, I'm like, well, what kind of a person would I be like walking around while he's doing work, you know?
Yeah.
So those 5 hours, we've done it a couple times. We've gotten so much work done, you know?
Right.
So
No, it's kind of cool to have someone who does what you do, like, around. Because then, like you said, you see them working, and you're like, I should do that too.
Yeah.
So it kind of like motivates you.
I was always so like, I'm not jealous, but I always looked at like Chef and Davey and how they had like, you're part of that group too?
Yeah.
You guys would go out and shoot?
Yeah.
And I always thought that was so cool, you know, because number one, when you go travel, you never have any photos of yourself, you know, because you're always the one taking photos, you know. Number two is just like cool because that's like the best way to learning, you know. If all of a sudden, like, if you two shoot a lot with each other and Chava starts getting really good, you're naturally gonna get just as good, you know, by default. So I always like I got to go where was it, Emerald Bay with Chef and Davey once, and Scott, and after that I was like trying to convince all my friends to be photographers, you know,
just to do it. Those little trips, I mean, we haven't done one in a long time, just because like everybody's kind of got their own thing, you know, but we've certainly tried. It's just back then, I don't know, maybe we just had more time, and we would all try to get together at least like once or twice a month.
Do you think now it's because people are getting like worn out with
I think when you get really busy, you tend to focus more on the work part of it than the fun part of it.
Because that's why I asked, because I got to the point in my career where, so when I first started, I asked my mentor, and I was like, hey, why don't you do any more personal projects? And he's like, man, after wedding season, you just don't even want to touch your camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I told myself, I was like, I'll never be that person, you know?
I was like, there's no way that can happen. Like, I love doing this, but then after this fall season,
and now carries my camera everywhere, right? Like, I always have it on me. And I found myself, like, starting to leave it at home, because I'm like, that just means more editing, more work. And then, like, when I'd go travel, like, to a different country, I never got the balance of like, do I want to sit here for 3 hours and do a cool time lapse, or do I want to enjoy this country, you know? And so there's that like Davey does such a good job at like, I don't know, I'm guessing he has fun too, but like he makes such a great story out of his travels, you know?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I kind of got a little bit into just doing small videos when I go somewhere, because it's like, I don't need
those
to do
8-second videos. Oh, those are cool.
Dude. Yeah, those 8-second.
Yeah, that's why they take a long time to do. Yeah, I'm just
like I kind of, you know, the last time I went to Oregon, I made one. It was like a 45-second 50, but it areas I went to that I was like, I want to get a cool little video. And I found myself like just doing a small clip and not really taking photos that much because I just wanted to enjoy it. So it's kind of hard to like.
It's nice not having that pressure.
It's not, and I mean, it's just you're a part of you is like, oh, I'm a photographer, I want to take photos, but then you're like, I also just want to enjoy while I'm here.
But see, and I was telling Chava that I only do photo shoots for my friends or my family. Just because like photography is like my personal thing, you know,
just
like
for you.
It's because sometimes like video, it's become a business, and like you said, you're so drained because you're doing so much work that you don't want to do your personal stuff, but photography has always been like, okay, I will still love photography when I travel because it's just so easy to take a picture and edit them,
So now let's get back to like what you do the most. So you do video. So you do mainly wedding videos. Do you do anything else?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the income is the weddings, most of it. But yeah, every once in a while I'll do a project, but I think I've gotten to the point where weddings are just,
your staple, basically.
Natural to me now, So I'll do events. I used to do like stuff for like the Reno Bighorns a lot and stuff,
Like just other projects for the city and stuff.
But I love like weddings, man. I love like.
And you have like such a unique style, like those videos are like very fast paced, a lot of clips like right next to each other.
I don't know. I agree with him. I think they're very like, I don't want to say all over the place, but like like they kind of are, but it's like not your traditional like.
Right.
Oh look,
I mean they're all over the place, but it's like that's what makes it
works
unique,
really well.
Well, and that's one thing I learned. It's funny. When I first started this industry, my second wedding that I shot, it was this girl who was like, hey, we saw your first video. I think the first video I used like an EDM song. And then she's like, we want that style. We want you to use this EDM song. So I shot their wedding, loved their video. And then the wedding planner like pulled me aside, or not pulled me aside. She emailed me later and she's like, hey, we want to give you more work, but just like word of advice, like if you want to make it in this industry, you're going to have to change your style.
Dude, I was going to say, do you get pushback? Like,
well, and it's funny because when you start with a different style, you do get a lot of people who
are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like when I first started, I would give them the video and they'd be like, I'd get this all the time. We love it, but can you like slow it down a little bit,
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I was just getting hired because I was a wedding videographer, not because of my style. And then after a while, like I'm blessed to say that now people will hire me and be because like, do your thing. Like we want the fast, upbeat stuff,
Yeah.
I fucking love that, man.
But it's funny because this wedding planner literally, and it's so funny because nothing wrong with her. She probably just said what she thought, but she's like, you'll never make it. She's like, you need to change it to be like, and she mentioned a couple of videographers. And for like a hot minute there, I was about to change my style, And the way I explained to people is like, I was never a 13-year-old boy who said, oh, I want to be a wedding videographer when I grow up,
Yeah.
So now that I am, I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it on my own terms, I don't want to.
That's cool.
So I'm blessed, man. It's been fun just to continue doing that like weird, quirky style,
Yeah.
So.
It's cool when people will hire you for what you do because they just respect what you do anyways.
Yeah.
Like they're like, do your thing, It's even for us with like pictures. I'm sure like even for him, when a client shows up, they're like, you tell us what to do because you know what you're doing. And I'm like, dope. So then I can just kind of do my own thing.
And for me, it was funny because like I said, this happened a lot when I first started out is I would get emails and they'd be like, hey, we want you to shoot our weddings, but can you do it like this person style?
You're like,
and then I would get a little petty and or like, kind of annoyed, and I'd be like, well, why don't you hire them to do it,
Yeah.
But after a while, like I said, I'm blessed now for them just to ask me to do to shoot my style. But for the longest time, I was like, how do you? It's like asking like a dentist, like, oh, I broke my ankle, will you fix it?
Yeah, it's like,
and maybe the dentist can do it because I don't, I know that's probably a horrible analogy, but
I think it's pretty good, man.
No, yeah,
like so it's just like it's asking. It goes back to like when you ask a photographer to do free work. I'm like, would you ever ask a lawyer to do free work?
Yeah,
so
like if that's their living, you shouldn't be.
It's just like logic.
Balling like that.
We've lost logic in this world,
Yeah, it's just so Instagram has corrupted people's minds, and they're like, I just want cool pictures for Instagram. So can you just do them for free? It's like, no, I can't.
For your portfolio.
I mean, when you're starting out, like, it's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're like established, like, you shouldn't just be taking and people being like, you want to collab? Unless like you really have an idea that you want to do personally and you need someone.
And if it benefits you too, you know, like when people in this industry say like never give discounts, I'm like, no, like if it's gonna benefit you, you know, if it's a cool couple, if it's a cool location, like, and it's gonna help you out, you know.
I've given discounts to people just because they come back so often.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like they're like reoccurring clients, so you're like,
and then you become friends. They're like,
and then they recommend you to a bunch of people, so you get work out of that, and it's like,
how did you guys start off with your pricing?
Oh, we were put on the spot.
Because there's two different types of photographers, and I say this because I have a lot of friends who started photography, and there's the people who start off, they buy like a Canon T3i or just a basic camera, and they immediately start charging like $300 an hour, you know. And as much as it's kind of annoying, but you also got to give them like,
I admire that.
Yeah, you have to admire it because they're hustling, and you're like, oh hell yeah,
you'll make your bread, you know.
For me, it took me like, I kid you not, like a year, because I started as a photographer first, but I didn't know anything what I was doing. It took me like a year before I charged anybody. Oh, really? And I would say, I'll take these photos, and if you like them, you can pay me, and they usually pay me.
Damn,
but that was like me starting out. That's not like, And I don't even think I was editing on Lightroom. Like, I think I was editing them on my phone. Like,
same. See, for me, it was like, I didn't really get asked to do portrait stuff. I used to shoot like my friends for fun and stuff. But I didn't get asked to do anything legitimately by a client until maybe like 5-6 months after starting. And it was just like senior pictures. I think I charged the girl like $40 for like an hour session, which is ridiculous. But I mean, I got to start somewhere. To me, it was like I didn't do portraiture. So I was like, I don't think it's fair for me to go charge this much money. If I always told myself when I started, like, I'm going to start charging based on my experience and what I feel like my work is worth, and then go from my pricing from there. You know, like, I told myself once I get better and I get, eventually, like, I upgrade gear, or I just feel like my work is more valuable than $40 an hour.
Oh, absolutely.
Then, I would change my pricing to that. Yeah. So, I mean, I was slowly throughout the years, like, at first, I was kind of slow on it. I wasn't super productive with it, so I was only charging a bit. It wasn't until the past, like, 2 years where I was like, okay, I need to charge more because, like, this is my livelihood. So I kind of think once you, like, are doing it as, like, a job, you're like, bro, I can't charge that little. You got to kick up the prices.
Dude, I did so many things for free. So many things. And then the thing, it was, like, at first, it was just, like you said, pictures of my friends, maybe family. But I still struggle with that because I don't know if you know, but I grew up in Mexico. So I moved here when I was 18. So I literally did not know anybody, you know? Yeah. And so it was hard for me to build that clientele.
Wait, so how old are you now?
I'm 26.
So that was, what,
8 years ago? Yeah, something like that.
Dude, you learned good English.
Yeah, man. I didn't know any English either, but, that's another topic.
Gotta make it work.
I'm still struggling over here, but we're trying.
This really quick. This year, I went to Mexico to see my family, and I did my first Spanish photo shoot for my cousin.
Really?
It's so hard to say.
It's different, huh?
Sonríe.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey, mira aquí.
In English, you got everything down. In Spanish, I'm like, God, I sound like such an idiot.
You got that whole little routine, right? Yeah, but what was I gonna say? Oh, dude, I still charge. I don't charge
think he charges enough for what he's worth personally.
I struggle with that.
You still charge it on your bio, or did you change that?
I changed it. Okay. Yeah,
a little bit.
I went up. Yeah, and I was surprised because like you think nobody's gonna hire you. You raise your fucking prices $40. You know who the fuck is gonna pay for that?
But I always like to follow up with people too, because sometimes you won't get an email back because you're too expensive. And I'll email back and I'll be like, "Well, what is your budget?"
Yeah, same.
And then a lot of times they'll tell you, and you're like, "Well, I'm not shooting that day, So yeah, let's do it. Let's work together."
I do that all the time with wedding clients because, like, I understand a wedding's expensive, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, like every year I've raised my pricing for weddings specifically because that's kind of the market I want to be in more than anything, anyways.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, sometimes I send them my pricing, and there's always two clients. They're the ones that are like, okay, thank you, I'll let you know. Or they're the ones that are like, cool, so how do I go about like booking you and getting a deposit? And I get it. Everyone's financial situation is different. I'm not going to say like, you're entitled to hire me as soon as I send you a price list, like, because you have all these other costs, you know. You got to think of like the video dude, the venue, like it's expensive, you know. So I like when they don't really reply too soon, I'm like, hey, if it's too much, just let me know. I'm willing to work with you, and we can arrange like how long I'd be there, that kind of thing. And usually it just works out. And you know, they're only maybe really being like, oh, can you cut it like $300-400? And I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of times when they don't respond back, I notice that when you negotiate with them, they're not asking you like 75% off. It's always like a couple $100.
But
or
obviously,
or I'll eliminate the second shooter, and it's like, we're
and
back
I think
on track,
I think people are just intimidated to try to like lowball you. But then at the same time, like if you're in a situation where you really want this person and you're just maybe a couple $100 short, like we're not gonna get offended because you're like, hey, can you maybe do 300 less? And I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's fine. I'll just maybe be with you 1 hour less or something. Like,
and for me, it's like I still work. All the money that I make on the side, it's just that it's on the side, you know. So I tend to be pretty flexible with clients, you know.
That's what I was telling Chava. I was like, when would you quit your, you know, job? And I immediately interrupted myself, and I was like, because I know you're making enough money, because I know how much you shoot. You know, even if you're charging $50 an hour, you'd be making money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I could do it, but there's just other things.
No,
I mean, when you got other stuff going on, there's no need to rush it. You know, it's like as long as you can still be. I feel like if his job was really getting in the way, then maybe it'd be time to leave. Like, let's say he had to work weekends, like no matter what, and so you can't be shooting weekends, like. Then, hey, bro, it might be time to just pursue this. And, you know, I was kind of in that situation because I used to work Sundays. And Sunday's like a big photo day, bro.
Well, at Pegs, their requirement, you're allowed to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And not any other days, but you have to work on the week. You can't work Monday through Friday. So after a while, you know, I was on really good terms with them, and finally they're like, you have to give us your wedding schedule, and we'll give you the days off. And I remember everyone that I worked with hated me because you're the only one that gets weekends off. I'm like, yeah, but I'm working.
But like I'm doing something else. I mean,
help me out here, guys.
I was definitely like very blessed that my old boss was super flexible with me, and he'd be like, if you want to come in a little late,
same thing with me.
Like it's cool, dude. You know, like I remember. Even on weekdays, because my work schedule was like Sunday through Thursday, and I used to work afternoons, which is when everyone's usually free. You know, everybody's getting off work at like 5 or 4, and I'd start at like 3:30. So sometimes he'd be like, "Hey, you got a little shoot at like 3:30. You can come in at 4:30. It's cool." And I'm like, "Thanks, bro. That helps a lot." And he would just be like, "Come in a little early tomorrow and make up your hour or two." And I mean, obviously it's different. Like not everyone has the privilege of that at a job. But when you can find like a really cool supervisor that is willing to work with you, then it's cool.
Shout out to Kelsey, my supervisor. Like when we're slow, I'm editing at work.
That's tight.
You know, and then if
I used to take my laptop to work
if I Kelsey, is it Kelsey?
Yeah,
Kelsey. If you're watching, you're paying him to edit. Pretty much.
Fire this guy.
Is this vodka or is this water?
It's vodka.
Okay. It's actually like super hardcore, like vodka, bro.
Yeah, it's that cheap ass tequila that they sell in Mexico.
It's that Lake Tahoe one. You know what
was like? There's a meme that was like, describe 2020 in a drink, and it's like one of those water bottles where you think it's water, but it's pure vodka.
You're like hella thirsty, and then you're like, oh,
bro. I want to talk about you and your goofy ass. Because man, the stuff you put out, man, it's freaking.
We gotta talk about that other page. You got.
The 7-1.
You gotta tell us about that.
What's going on, bro? What color is your hair right now? First of all,
it's black. Right there you go. It's funny, man. So I was in a 3.5 year relationship, you know. So once you're like dating for someone that long, we had like our place downtown. It's like, I don't want to say life starts feeling like it's over, but it's just kind of like you're living with each other. Life kind of like it I can't believe.
No, he really went
No.
there,
What I'm saying is like what you start like settling for like life.
Yo, don't date anybody.
Don't date anybody.
Stay single.
Because life will be over.
Because apparently life is over.
No, you convinced me, man.
No, listen. So it just when me and my ex broke up, I all of a sudden moved to the house that I live in now, and I moved with 4 of my friends. So it kind of helped me because I was 26 years old, and it's kind of felt like I was going backwards in life because I was like living with 4 other guys, and we were like hanging out and playing beer die outside. But it like helped me a lot, you know. And we'd always just, you know, when you live with roommates, you're always just having fun, doing stupid things. And so then that's when we started making all these like funny, stupid videos, you know. And we'd always talk about making like the 7149 page, and we never did.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what's the 7149?
It's just our address.
Oh, 7149 boys? Okay.
Oh my god.
But it's funny too, because I have friends who are like, make a TikTok, you know? And I feel like making a TikTok so much pressure, you know? It's like,
because what
like,
if you just don't
sometimes me and Fido will just be sitting there and we'll be like, oh, how funny would this be? And then all of a sudden within like 30 minutes we're making a video, and it's never a professional video. We never get like the real cameras out or anything.
Really?
And and it just
sometimes they look.
Oh no! When we started planning them, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, those ones. But like the fun little snippets, you know, like the stupid ones that we do. Yeah, we just post them, you know. But I mean, we should get back to doing that, you know, but
they're hilarious. The first one I saw was the boss space ones, bro.
And we can all think of one person. I got so many people like messaging me, and they're like, "Oh my god, were you making fun of this person or this person?" I'm like,
when I saw that, like,
get closer to the mic.
When I saw that, I kid you not, I thought about like 6-7 people.
Yeah.
And you know, to each his own if that's your thing. But I just immediately was like, bro, why is this them? Like, why is this them? And I was dying. Like, I kid you not, I was dying. I'm like, this is like the most accurate thing I've ever seen in a long time. Because I just feel like that.
Well, and it's funny. It's funny too, because like you said, to each their own. Like, I always think about like how I maybe need to be more like the people that we're thinking of, and get more on Instagram and show my face more on my business page, and be like, ask me questions. I can't, man. I can't take myself serious enough.
Me neither. I remember I want to say at the end of like 2018, I think I was driving to like LA, and you know, please don't Instagram and drive. Yeah. But I was making a video of me drive, and it was the first time I had ever shown my face in a video. Yeah. And I told myself,
I had no clue what you looked like for the longest time.
I told myself like, hey, I'm gonna make more of an effort to be active on my stories, and so people could see me and stuff. Hell no, I never did it again. Yeah. I tried, and I was like, this ain't me,
dude, it's
bro.
hard, man.
It's just
and you used to have
me.
like super long hair, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had really longer hair. Yeah. And now all my Instagram stories is me buying nerdy shit, which sorry guys, but that's just what I do.
Well, and then that's the thing.
Okay, we were talking about this with Mike. It's like, it'd be better maybe if you were like that, but then it's also good to just be yourself, you know. And I feel like you do that pretty well, just being goofy and
sometimes.
Like, but it goes to show too, like when I first started, I thought that being a wedding videographer or photographer meant that everything had to be like fine art, you know, like work as hard as you can to get published, to do all this stuff. And then the clients that I attract now are more of like who cares about getting my dress dirty, we're just here to party, you know, family, friends, fun, dancing. And so then I had this like switch where I was like, why am I trying to be like, I would dress really nice to weddings, you know, and sometimes I'd be like the best dressed person there. Yeah. I'm like, how am I? Why am I doing this? You know. So me and Fido this year were like, let's dress how we want to dress, you know. Yeah. So we started wearing like these retro kicks, and you know, still all black, you know, but just kind of doing things like on our terms, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I just
that's what makes it unique, dude.
Yeah, I think people are gonna hire you more for who you are. Like, if they like your work, of course. But then, I don't know, man. Over the years, I've noticed that people hire you more because of, like, how you are as a person.
Yeah.
More than anything.
And that's the great thing about being a videographer, because, let's be honest, like, the videographer always gets hired at the very end. I always hear, like, oh, we weren't going to hire one, but we have enough money in our budget, you know?
Yeah.
But it's also a good thing for us, because all we have to do is become friends with photographers and wedding planners. And then they'll, like, you know, give us shout outs and, you know, refer us. And I always feel so bad because I have photographers who, like, I'll work with a lot, and I can't ever return the favor because, like I said, we get hired last, you know. So it's never like
by the time like you're getting hired, they already have somebody else. Yeah, I think like me and him this year we're doing a lot of stuff together.
We're having on Saturday.
Yeah, we have our first gig Saturday. It's a wedding, so
nice.
First wedding, and I mean we have a couple more, but it became one of those things where like even before the podcast, like me and him were just recommending each other. Like I'd be like, hey, he does video, and he'd be like, oh, he does photo.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think people saw that we're like good friends. At least I think we're good friends. He probably hates me, but it's cool.
Hey, be nice to our guests on our podcast.
What are you talking about, man? Who are you?
But it's
I don't know,
too,
bro. I see the shade on Twitter. You know what I mean?
But it's funny because and maybe you guys thought this too, when I first got in this industry, I thought every other videographer was my competition. Like, oh, they're
Yeah,
my
I kind of
competition.
did.
Yeah.
And now even, like, for example, like Davey, whenever I'm booked, I refer him, and I hear all the time through emails, like, oh, I was referred by Davey, you know?
Yeah.
So then you realize, like, living so close to Lake Tahoe and just all the weddings around, there's so much work for everyone.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a thing that a lot of people don't get, is that, you know, you don't really have to, like, there's enough for everybody.
There's work
bro.
for everybody.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, you're not gonna be broke because you're recommending
Yeah.
people. And I don't know. I feel like if it's in your personality and your character to just want to help people out, like, then why not? You know, there's a lot of times when I can't get anything. He's definitely my first person to recommend, but sometimes he's busy.
Yeah.
And if he's busy, I'm like, I know, like, these other 3 people.
That's when you realize. That's when you realize that there's work for everybody. Like this fall season, it was insane. Like everybody wanted photos. I don't know why, but
Yeah, same. I don't know.
but then it's like he would refer me, and then I'm like, well, I'm busy. I can't refer someone else, you know. And then it's just like, I'm booked. I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
But then there's so many people that want to
Like,
photos.
same
I'm
thing.
like,
He would hit me up like, yo, can you cover this? And I'm like, no, I can't, but I think I might know someone who does.
yeah.
And it's just, it's funny going from the person that you're recommended to you're recommending people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like a nice sign of, like, growth, in my opinion. Because I remember always being the guy that, if, you know, like Chef or Davey or who else were, like, busy, they'd be like, oh, go to Nando. And then now it's like hey, go to him. You know? So it's just, I don't know. I've thought about that, like, last year more than anything, where I'm like, it's kind of cool, man, when you go from, like, oh, I'm being recommended to, I can't, but look, here's this person.
Well, and it's cool just like growing. Like my little brother's 18 years old, and he wants.
Yo, he's low-key killing it, bro.
He is, right?
He's
Like,
super talented.
It's funny because he shot a couple weddings that I'm in. And I was like, dude, I know all my friends are assholes. And I'm like, as soon as he showed me the video that he made for them, I was like, I know what I'm gonna hear from my friend. Dude, your little brother's way better than me. And I even told him, I'm like, his name's Axel. I'm like, Axel, you at 18 are where I was at like 4 years ago, you know? So, and that's a cool thing about like your friend group, you know, you guys all started at a young age, you know? So like once you start there, you just keep growing and growing. And that's what I told him. I was like, if you don't hate your photos from last year, then you're not growing, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously you'll get to a point where you appreciate your work and stuff, but just like color grading and all that stuff.
I started when I was 22, I think. Dude, I was so bad. I was so bad, man.
Yeah.
And I see like your brother. I'm like, what the hell? Like this is crazy. Like all of these new photographers, they're insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I started around like I think I just turned 21. Like maybe 2 months after. So my birthday's in September, and I started in November.
Oh.
So it was like end of 2015.
Yeah.
So I was almost 22.
Yeah.
And that's when I met like Chef and Davey and them, and they're like, yeah, we've been doing this for like a year and a half. So they started when they were like 20 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, for your brother to be 18 and that good,
like
there's so much potential for growth, you know?
When you guys first started this podcast, I was like loving it because I'm all about like my culture, and I was like, I hope they talk about, you know, being Latino and stuff.
Did you guys? We haven't.
Well, we did when we first on the first episode.
Well, I even messaged you too about it, and
I appreciate that, man. Like, that meant a lot to me, you know, because I look up to you and just like,
I don't know about that, man. You're about to.
He's like reality checking shit, bro.
But did you guys ever run into the situation where your parents didn't agree with you being a photographer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Well, don't be so loud, guys.
Oh, yeah. His mom's still here.
My mom's over there.
She's about to run into the room. What'd you say?
Hijo de tu chingada.
¿Qué dijiste de mí? No, for me, it was like, you know, when you have traditional Hispanic parents, they're very like, work and go to school, and that's your life. You know what I mean? And I think it's it's different for everyone. Like everyone grows up in different situations. Like for me, it was I grew up with just my mom for the longest time, and I saw like how hard she busted her ass to provide, and then my stepdad came in the picture. That was a help, but my stepdad was always like, I don't want to work for somebody. Like I want to be my own boss, and I always saw him making moves towards like, I don't want to be at a job 40 hours a week. So since I was a kid, like. That was always my mentality of like, I don't know, man, if I just want to go to college and go sit in an office or something for like 40 hours a week. Like that doesn't sound good to me.
And see, for me, it was my dad, like I said, I read a lot of like self-improvement books, and I believe in the 5 love languages, you know? And the way my dad shows love is like by working 60 hours a week and providing for his family.
Providing, yeah.
So when I started working, 4 times a month, these weddings, he'd always be like, when are you going to get a real job, you know? And I was like, well, Dad, this is a real job.
Yeah, it's like, you want to see my bank account?
Yeah, but and it's funny because he didn't really respect what I was doing until I told him how much I was making per wedding. And that's when he was like, whoa, wait, per wedding?
Yeah. Yeah, so it changes a lot. Yeah.
It's just funny. And I think that's a culture thing. It's like as soon as they figure out like, oh, you're making this much money by not working as much, so.
Yeah, like, I think, like, for me, my mom was the one that was like, what do you mean you're going to leave a good job with good benefits and stop going to college? And my stepdad was the one that was like, I think this is your thing.
Yeah.
And he had always, since I was like 15, 16, tried to make me find my thing. So I give a lot of like thanks to him because he was definitely like, do you really want to just be working for someone forever? Like, why don't you try to find something? And he always had like little side businesses where like I'd help him and stuff, and he's like, what if you ran a business like this? He had like a carpet cleaning company for a while, and he's like, what if you ran it? You know what I mean? Or he'd be like, what if you do this? What if you do that? And then I was just like trying to find my thing, and then once like photography picked up, he was like, I think this is your niche. Like I think you finally found what you're good at. I used to really be into art, so I would sometimes sell like canvases and drawings or whatever. Nothing like no Picasso, but like it was a little side money that I would make. And he would always be like, what if you really take that forward? Like, what if you go to art school and like you just major in art and then you do this? And I'm like,
see, and that's cool. Because for me, it was my mom owns a Mexican restaurant.
Can I just say real quick, like, it's crazy how it feels like we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah,
because I was gonna say,
like
shout out to your mom, dude. Because your mom is freaking awesome.
Dude,
your mom's tight.
Man, I'm so lucky to have my mom around, man. Because she like when people ask me about my bucket list, it's to do everything my mom did, and it was to start a business. The main one is to move to a different country. I don't know if I still want to do that.
Yeah.
But but yeah, man, the stuff that she's been able to accomplish. But she has that mentality where she loves working 15-hour days.
Really?
At the restaurant. She opens at 8 and closes at 8.
Is that here in Reno? Where is it?
In Smith Valley.
How far is that from here? Because I really want to freaking go.
I saw it, but I'm like, that doesn't look like Reno. Like, I wonder where it is.
You know where Yarrington is? We're not in the country.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 20 minutes from there.
So it's like a decent little drive, right?
Yeah. It's like if you ever go to, is it to Vegas? Or just to California, you'll stop there. It's right next to Topaz Lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Road trip or?
Let's go.
But it's funny, man, because I always say my mom's the best businesswoman because she's the worst businesswoman. And I say that because people will find out that she has a restaurant, so they'll go and they'll be like, oh, I know Tony. Oh, okay, mijo, free food. I'm like, Mom, stop giving free food to everyone who name drops me. There's people that I've met like twice, and I was just like, it just comes up.
Like, I found out.
Hey, the 20 viewers we have here, they're gonna go and they're
bro, we're about to pull up and be like, did you know that your son was on our podcast? You're like, El Tony is bien muchacho, right?
No, and it's so funny how she does that, But what's cool about her business, man, is that it's in the middle of like it's a small community, So like she has like these little kids who go back to the kitchen, and she has a step stool, and they like flip their own pancakes. This is before COVID,
wow.
'cause people probably. But so it's just like a cool little like it's kind of like the stuff you see in movies, But going back to like her work ethic, man, she works so much that it made me realize like I don't want to work as much as she does, I still want to own a business and work for myself, but I don't want to put in those out.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because like I kind of got that from my mom too when I was a kid, and she was trying to provide by herself. Like I'd hardly ever see her, like period. And I'm like, I don't want to do that when I have kids. Like when I have kids, I want to be able to spend time with them. So what can I do to when I get to having kids where I can have quality time with my family more than owning your own business. Like, that's when you can have the most time with your family.
And that's a crazy thing. And I think when you sit down your parents and you like ask them about their childhood, you're like, oh, my childhood was actually
you're like, oh, I have it so much easier.
Yeah, it's like, I was actually kind of chilling like compared to what they go through and stuff. It's crazy, man.
And it's funny because the way that like my mom talks about it, like she's a citizen now, but she'll just be like, oh yeah, when I crossed through the river that one time, or when I did, I'm like, Mom, you say like you just went to a trip, like on a trip, you know? Like, she's like, that's talks about it so casually, you know. And for the longest time, my dad was he was a resident, so he would cross the border and then he'd wait for my mom to illegally cross the border and just pick her up. Jesus, so it's just funny, like they talk about these stories like it's
just so casual.
Yeah, like, oh, I went to the beach. It's like, no, Mom, you crossed.
Like you were crossing a border, bro.
So.
Where it's dangerous. Like a lot of people have some stuff happen to them there all the time. Like that's not a fun spot to go through. So.
I have friends that try to cross and they're like, oh yeah, we got caught, you know, and then we were in the back of this truck hiding, and then we got caught.
And you just send them back.
It's just like they just talk about it so casually.
Yeah,
like,
and it's funny. I go, Mom, do you think I would be able to like? Well, obviously, I'm a citizen, but like cross the border and just document it. And just, mijo, ni creas, eh?
She's like, don't do that.
Like, don't do it, you know. But
that's
like,
the idea, though.
Yeah, right. Like, just get those like photos. And I have uncles who they're like, oh, you can do it. They're just like, as soon as you know they see that you're a citizen, they just send you back to the U.S. You know, or. But
oh wow, let's do it, man. I'm down. I'll come with you.
Next
crossing mission. I'm with it. Yo, we're taking a road trip one of these days, or what?
I think we just became drug lords.
Tony will just document everything with his drone.
Let's see if Donald Trump left the wall. Yeah, hey, can I just say real quick? Like, I was looking at the cameras, man. The studio looks nice.
Yeah,
hey,
man.
You know what's funny is I've had a lot of other people who I've been doing shoots with who are like first tuning in, and the production value, fam, I get compliments on it a lot.
Oh, really? Oh,
you're doing great, sweetheart.
Yeah,
thank you,
for
man.
sure.
Finally, you're doing great for our first podcast.
Right? They're like
the Carne Asada podcast.
Yeah, the episode number 1. But people are always like, "Yo, the video on YouTube looks really crisp." I'm like, I mean, I hope so, because my man's got 3 cameras up in there, and they're all expensive cameras, so I hope they look solid. So
I know you get some credit around here.
No,
but that's the thing, Chavo, too. Like, me and Fido talk about it all the time. Like, there's times where I want to start a vlog, and the vlog is still on my YouTube, but it's private, you know? Like, I never published it, you know? So it's crazy, like I commend you just for doing something. My biggest thing is, like, I think too much about what other people are going to think, and it stops me from, like, doing certain things.
It never goes away. And sometimes for a while, I stopped thinking about it, but then it comes back, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think now everybody's like, oh, everybody's got a podcast. And it's like, what do you got going on?
Yeah.
And it's always, and this is how I always think about it. It's always the people that don't have a vlog or a podcast that are going to be they
always got something to say.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if it's just here in Reno, but over the years of like doing what I do, I've always noticed that the people who aren't doing shit are the ones that have the most to say. And I mean, it is what it is. You know, like I used to have people be like, you're only getting into photography because of the hype. Like you want to be a photographer so bad. And now I see that and I'm like, what's that? What?
My favorite thing is like when I land like a cool gig. Like this year I was blessed to work with Haley Page, you know, and it's a compliment, but it's also a diss. Like, oh, how'd you get that? Like, who do you know? You know? And I was like, she messaged me. Like, that's how I got
she contacted me.
But it happens like where I'll shoot a cool wedding or like out of state wedding, and they're like, oh, like, how'd you get that?
How'd you go out there?
You know? You're like, I don't know.
It's like I don't know, man. It just came to me.
So
the places you get to go, you travel a lot, right? Like,
you're kind of all over the place.
Pre-COVID,
Pre-COVID.
How was this last year for you?
It was good. I postponed, or most of my weddings got postponed to this year. But then what I started realizing was that a lot of elopements and a lot of people who wanted just
smaller
like the
things.
ceremony because, you know, grandma and grandpa couldn't show up, you know. So I never struggled too much. And then this last year, I had the beginning of last year, so beginning of 2019, I told myself, I was like, I'm only going to book like 10 weddings because I didn't know if I wanted to continue doing it. And I was like, 2 things are going to happen. Either I'm going to find something else that I want to do, or it's going to make me realize that I really want to do weddings, you know?
Yeah.
and it went the really want to do weddings, you know. But I got lucky because I only booked 10 weddings, so it was so easy to postpone those, you know.
Oh, gotcha.
So
then this year, are you pretty like booked out for the year?
So and that's why I rebranded to Castaneda Films.
I know. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be Fido and you.
Yeah. So it's gonna be me and Fido,
and just all in.
And then eventually my little brother, you know, once he starts, you know, shooting more and stuff.
That's cool.
But I noticed that Fido's going to all, you know, he was my main second shooter, and he's been talking about leaving his job for a while. So we're like, well, why don't we just do this, you know, full time together? And obviously we like, you know, crunched the numbers and just saw if like see if it was doable, and it was, man. And it's I'm like excited because, like I said, sometimes when you have all that workload, you just put so much pressure on yourself. So now it's like it's fun, like bringing him in and have him help me out. But at the same time, like I graduated with bachelor's in advertising and marketing.
Oh, okay.
And never have I used it, you know. So finally, like now that I took my name out of it, like it's fun to start doing like marketing stuff and advertising stuff.
Yeah, because now it's just more of like a brand.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? I've had thoughts about that too. Of like, have you ever thought of like changing your IG name? Or you just kind of stuck with it?
But I've thought about it, but then I come to the realization I want to keep it my name.
Yeah. And the only reason, the big thing that made me change my name is that I wanted people to stop expecting Tony Castaneda to show up to the weddings, you know?
Right.
Like, let's say it's, you know, you just come, like Castaneda Films, like nobody knows who's the main guy or who's the second guy, you know?
Right.
You know, it's funny he says that because that's kind of what Mike did. You know Mike Lucido?
He was on the podcast, right?
Our last guest.
What is he
his like brand name is like 808 Studios.
Dude, he's so talented, man.
Yeah, he's crazy. That dude's
like,
nuts.
Yeah.
And that's like he has like his personal Instagram. It's like that Lucido kid. And you know, from what he told me, he was like, when I used to do just murals and like art, he's like, people were just like, oh, that Lucido kid's gonna come.
Yeah.
Like whatever. It's his last name, you know. But now that he has like his own thing where he has like a second shooter that works for him, I think it's smart to just, like you said, not have a name title to it.
That's him right there.
Yeah, there's our boy right here.
Did you bring me the stickers though?
Oh no, I didn't.
Jesus.
What'd you forget?
He gave me stickers and I forgot to bring them. Bro,
Jeez,
that was like last week. Oh my god.
And then he asked why I'm mean to him.
I'm gonna. You're not even gonna be here tomorrow because I'm gonna be at work. But I'm gonna just drop them off in your mailbox. All right. So when you come home, they're right there. Stop crying.
All right, I'm gonna be.
Stop crying.
All right,
so like
back to the Castaneda. How do you pronounce it? Castaneda?
Castaneda. I say Castaneda.
Castaneda.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So now it's like.
But it's gonna be just video.
Just
no
video,
photo?
yeah. I mean, I do photo, like I said, on my own, but...
So is this like, are you guys going the route of just taking whatever comes to you, and if you can cover or he can cover it kind of thing? Or?
So usually, on average, I'll book like 20 to 25 weddings a year, you know?
Per year?
So it got to the point where I was like, how cool would it be if we shot 30 to 35 weddings and it wasn't, you know, like a big deal to edit them all because now you have help, you know?
Yeah.
And like me and Chava were talking about this earlier because you showed up late.
Oh my god. Bro, I showed up at 6:20.
No, I'm kidding. No, but we were talking about it earlier, how you just it's nice when you have a buddy right next to you, you know? Like for me, dude, like I was telling Chava that there's times where I was like in my room 3 days straight and I'm like, I haven't talked to anybody, I haven't left, you know? I just obviously you leave to like go to the gym or go to Starbucks or whatever, but for the most part, like I was like, dude, I don't have that social aspect that you get from a 9 to 5, you know?
Yeah.
So the way that I convinced Fido, I was like, I only need 4 hours of your time a day. And then the rest of the time we can make stupid videos, you know. And then he left the country the first time last year. He went to Thailand, and him and all my roommates got the travel bug, you know. So I'm like, think about it. We can like do cool like things together. We can travel, you know. And then on top of that, like there's no like the sky's the limit for him, you know. Like once you're in this industry, you can make as little as you want, or you can make as much as you want, you know.
Yeah, you can just be. You can be in charge of all that, which is the cool part, I think, about it. And you know, it's funny you bring up the social aspect because there's times when like I miss having a normal job just because I love my coworkers, and it's just like, damn, dude, I don't see people like that Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
But then I think you think about it, and you're like, but look at all the freedom I have now. Like, do I really want to be stuck somewhere? So it's just,
for me, the biggest challenge is being done at 5 p.m. Like, I wish I got my life in order where like I worked. Like, I edited from noon to 5 and then I was done. But for me, like 5 p.m. comes around and then like my friends will text me and be like, oh, you want to hang out? I'm like, oh no, I got this wedding due tomorrow.
so that's when everyone's off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like my thing. So this year I'm trying to get it where, you know, once Fido quits his job, we can work 4 hours and then we're done for the day. Like, I can go to the gym, I can do whatever I want, you know.
So you still want to have the structure, like, behind it,
which is good. I think once you're fully established at that, it's good to have like, oh, this is my edit day, and I'm gonna edit only all these. Like,
how do you go? Yeah,
I was gonna say, how do you do that?
Dude, I just do it whenever I can. You know?
When I have, for me, it's when I can.
And there's so many times where like I like to make goals. I'm like, okay, this goal, Mondays are gonna be for weddings, Tuesdays are gonna be personal projects, Wednesday you're gonna take a day off, Thursday you're gonna get back on the weddings. Never happens. Like, Mondays I'll wake up and I'll just.
I think for the past like 6 months, Mondays have definitely been my editing days. And I don't really set a time. I'm like, if I'm here all damn day editing, so be it. But I try to crank out as much as I can on a Monday. Yeah. And then after that, it's usually like a Thursday, like if I do something in between. But I usually do stuff on weekends. So I'll tell my clients on weekends, like, hey, my edit days are like Mondays. So if you get your photos tomorrow, then that's why. Like on a Sunday.
And it's crazy too, because this is the thing I've learned about myself. I'm a huge procrastinator, but I am a man of my word. So if I tell a client that their video is going to be done on January 23rd, their video is going to be done on January 23rd. Even if it means that on January 22nd, nothing's done. You know? Like, I'll stay up all night. And it's funny because people go, how long does it take you from start to finish to make a wedding video? And I go, 8 hours. And they're like, how do you know that? How do you track that? And I was like, because I've started at midnight and finished by 8 in the morning, you know? So, and it's funny because with that said, you think about it and you're like, man, if I worked 2 hours a day, I'd be done by Friday. But it doesn't work that way. You know, you got to get, like you said, you got to get in the mood. You got to get like inspired. You have to
especially for video, man. And you know, we were talking like, do you do video? Yes, I do video. But then video slows me down.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I have to sit there and I have to, sometimes I just don't have it, you know? And I was telling him, like, with photos, I know what a photo has to look like, so I can keep going, you know? I can just stay there and do something, you know? But with video, sometimes it's like, I stay there 2 hours and I didn't do anything, you know? So that's why I have this love and hate relationship with video, you know?
It's just a different thing, too.
Well, and it's funny, too, because there's one, I don't even know what girl it was. This girl messaged me once and said, hey, I'm throwing a bachelorette party for my friend. Is there any way you can stop by and take some photos? And then kind of like, while you're there, just make a cute little video. I'm like, no, there's nothing about making a cute little video. It takes like time, like thought. What's the story going to be? What's the song, you know? Yeah. Like, if it was the other way around, you know, like, oh, come make a video and then we just snap a couple photos, you know? Yeah. But the other way, it's like, no, it's the whole process, you know?
You ever had people who want to have you do, like, both?
All the time, dude.
Even for me, and I don't do much video, and they're like, can you just do photos and then crank in a few little videos? Yeah. Like, no, I can't, bro.
Sometimes like, I'm, I don't know, you've probably seen, like, I work with Fitted Nation.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, I'm taking photos, but then once I realized that, he's like, hey, have you done any videos? I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, shit, so now I switched the mindset, you know, and I'm shooting video. I'm thinking of I don't know how you do it, but I usually just do it on the spot. Like, okay, this is gonna start like this, and then what I will get this, right?
And this is why I love weddings so much, because weddings, you don't go in there with a storyboard or plan.
They just kind of happen.
You shoot it, and then you're like, okay, this is what it felt like. Yeah, this is how I'm gonna make it. I watch like a lot of Sam Colder, you know, like, and it's crazy. Like, their process is they'll sit down and they'll draw pictures of what the video is gonna. I cannot do that.
Yeah,
like, it's hard, you know. So a lot of times, like right now, I'm working on a video for my friend who owns a gym, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna show up, record whatever I need, and then we'll see what comes out afterwards, you know. So
yeah. So once I'm doing that, then it's like now I'm into video, and then he's like, yeah, you're getting pictures because we change outfits and stuff. So it's just like you cannot just like go back and forth between the two. You have to like really focus on one.
How do you work on your vlogs? Do you
on the vlogs?
Do you have like a theme that you're gonna?
Nah, man.
We haven't put one out in a minute.
Yeah, no, I did like 3, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing this, but then they take, they're time consuming. I have stuff to do, but so basically I have my main one. I'm just recording, and then once I get to the editing process, I'm like, okay, so this might be cool here, and then I'm just gonna go from there. Oh
yeah,
vlogs are cool. Like I wish I was better at speaking, in front of the camera and just being more like entertaining, I guess, but
well, I like I said, I tried, like, even when I travel, I'd try to vlog, and just being in like public and
exactly
talking to
once you get in public,
people are watching you, and I'm like,
once you get in public, it's so much harder.
I think unless you live in LA, then it's not the norm. Because in LA, everybody's got cameras just like this.
And you see like a bunch of people vlogging.
You ever think about moving out of Reno?
I've thought about it so many times. What keeps me here is that like it's such cheap cost of living. Yeah. So
I mean, it's not the best right now.
So like
compared to other places.
Yeah. So like we've owned our house for a while, so our mortgage is super cheap.
Yeah.
So I always like said that all the money I'm saving on rent I could use to travel to new places.
Gotcha.
I know I'll probably end up in Reno, which is why I would like to leave now, just for a little bit.
Just to get out of it.
Yeah. So
that's cool, because everybody wants to leave, but then nobody ever does.
I used to have the mentality of like I really want to leave, but I think Reno grew on me.
Yeah.
The older I got, the more I appreciated the smallness and stuff.
You had to look at it in what phase you are in life. Like living in Reno right after you graduate college is the worst, because you feel like everyone's leaving, everyone's getting cool jobs in New York or somewhere else, and you're like, oh, I'm stuck in Reno. Once you start looking at yourself like, no, I chose to live here, is when it starts getting fun, and you love downtown, and you love Tahoe, and San Francisco's 3 hours down the road.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many nice spots near here that are just a couple hours away, and some people like just don't want to drive.
Yeah.
Like, you ever gone somewhere and people are like, yo, how far is that?
Yeah.
And you tell them and they're like, oh, hell no, that's hella far. And it's like a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
Like,
I love 8-hour drives, man.
Yeah, same.
Like, they're so easy for me. Or not easy, but they're just doable for me.
Yeah.
Do you do most of your weddings in Tahoe?
Most of the time in Tahoe, and then like now I'm finally getting like out of state, and so.
Which one's the craziest wedding you've done? The furthest one.
I've done one in like Hawaii. I just did one in Florida.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, just like word of mouth though, man. It's just like meeting people, and then
gets you out there.
Cause it's funny, like once you meet a wedding videographer, you tell someone you're a wedding videographer, and then their friend will be like, "Oh, I'm getting married. Oh, I met a wedding videographer."
Yeah.
So it's crazy how like it just happens like that,
And then I'm sure it helps, because I know we were talking about like the goofiness behind. Your group or whatever, but then even at weddings you guys you guys are doing all this.
So there's this one time where me and Fido were shooting B-roll and shooting drone before the wedding, and we did this video where we wanted to do like the snap, and then we'd be like dressed professionally, because we always start off with like a black shirt and then we put on the button up. So the way that it happened was we snapped, and when we snapped, he was all tucked in and nice, and my pants were down and my shirt was off, And I put it on my personal story, not on, the business page.
Yeah.
And then we get to the wedding, and the mother of the bride was like, "Oh my God, I loved your video." And I said, "Oh, which one?" She's like, "The one where your pants were down this morning." And I look over at Fido, I was like, I gotta start remembering that people like follow,
your other page.
Yeah. So I was just like, but then it also like helps out, because kind of how you were saying, it's like a lot of times it's like I always say, and I don't know if this is even correct, but I like to say that it's 20% knowing how to use the camera and 80% making them feel comfortable.
Yeah,
Obviously,
big
that's
time.
Probably way off, but it goes to show that like it's just making them laugh, and a lot of times like me and Fido will look at each other at a wedding, like, dude, we gotta tone it down.
You're like,
too much,
Feel like we are grabbing like all the attention.
I feel like this year I definitely want to start being more like that, which is why I've tried to meet all the couples beforehand.
Yeah.
And some, like, you know, I know them, so I know I can just, like, mess around.
Yeah.
And then there's others where, like, I'm literally meeting them at their engagement. So I get how their vibe is, and I'm like, oh, they're cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, I guess at their wedding I can just like hang out.
But and like I said, you attract certain types of people, you know? So I noticed that the people I attract, like, I don't like cuss at weddings, but I'll say stupid things, you know? Like, I do this thing where I'm like, when I'm holding my Ronin and I can see it on my screen, and if I love the shot, I'll just start making like sounds like oh my god, you know? And I'll just be like, oh, I just got a videogasm, you know? Like, I'll say stupid stuff like that. And sometimes I'm like, am I being like too like inappropriate, you know? But they're like laughing, and you know, so
it works out, man.
Yeah. I think if your main client who hired you is having a good time, like, you shouldn't really worry about the guests that much.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're not the ones hiring you and like paying you and stuff. Because, like, I've had experiences at weddings where I guess, like, some of the guests were like, yeah, he seemed a little too comfortable. Yeah. But then they'll be like, but we wanted him to.
Or, like, the wedding planner thinks that they're your boss, even though, like,
they're not, yeah. You ever had that? Like, wedding planners trying to, like, step on your toes?
Some of them. For the most part, they've been good.
Yeah.
I've had a few.
I haven't done that many weddings to experience.
I've had, like,
this your big boy?
Yeah.
I've had, like, couples who, like, will offer me a drink, and I'll have a drink. And
same.
And then the wedding planner's like, are you drinking? And I'm like, yeah, the bride gave it to me. Like,
what do you want me to just fight? No.
It was funny. So the first time that Fido helped me out, he always hangs out with the guys. I hang out with the girls. And he comes back, and we meet up after, I think right before the ceremony, and he's like, oh, the guys offered me a beer. And I was like, oh, did you take it? He's like, oh, no, I'm working. I was like, dude, you can take it, like,
sometimes
have a beer, you know?
Sometimes I say that too.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So the second wedding, he comes back and goes, dude, I had 3 tequila shots. I was like, don't get drunk, man.
Yeah, like, don't get drunk either.
The dad of the bride just kept giving him to me, and I can't say no.
Yeah. I've been in, like, situations where they just want to get you drunk. Yeah. And you're like, unless you want your shit to look hella blurry, that's not a good idea.
Wait a little bit until...
I always say no to alcohol, like, during the day. Because, like I said, one drink, and I'll be, like, asleep. And I'll be, like, not creative. And then at night, like, I'll have a beer or something, you know. But
how has it been... When did Fido get into it? How did that happen?
Fido started helping me out, I want to say, like, 2 years ago.
But he was never into it like that?
He was never into... The kid has a very creative mind. Like, the stuff that, like, he thinks about is creative. It's just that he was never, like, with...
Technical.
Technical with the camera, you know?
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like... Once he has the tools to start being more creative is like when you see, you know, his true colors shine, you know. So he's been doing it for 2 years now, so it's exciting, man. We'll see
how he goes.
That's hopefully, cool, man.
Yeah. So if he, I think your guys' plan is really cool to just kind of work together and have like a partner like that and stuff. Yeah. Like, I think that's why I want to do so much with him. Yeah. It's like, it's just, you have a homie there, you know, like, it's so much different, bro, when you know the photographer, the videographer, like, on a personal level, because you're just kind of, like, hanging out. And it's just, the wedding flies, because you're like, dude, we're just here kicking it.
Well,
like,
and it's funny, too, because I always offer to all my clients, I always say, second shooter for no additional cost. And it's not so much that I need a second shooter, it's just like you get you just want a buddy there, you know?
Yeah, I have the same thing this year where I want to bring like people who want to do weddings. Like, we're getting to the wedding market just to come second shoot. I'm like, I'll still give you a little bit for your time, but I'm not really asking the couple for extra money. Right. And a lot, I have messaged like, hey, I have a person who wants a second shoot, and they're like, well, how much more do we have to pay? I'm like, well, just give me like $200. And they're like, oh, perfect, for a second shooter, cool, you know?
And you get all those like extra images.
Yeah, and it's more of like, I just want to have somebody there, because like, weddings are long. It's like an 8-hour day, 9-hour day most of the time. And if you're there by yourself, you're just kind of like, huh.
Yeah.
You sit in the little table in the corner like don't even watch me, my food, guys.
With me, it goes either I'm alone just by myself, or I clicked really well with like the couple, and I'm like just partying the whole time, right? But
or sometimes they're like, oh, go sit with so and so, or like you you make friendships with like the guests there, and they're like, "Yo, sit over here." And so I'm like, that's dope. You know, I've been in a lot of weddings where like the bridal party or the groomsmen all sit in a table, and they're like, "What do you mean, pull up a chair? Like, come hang out with us." And I'm like,
sit with the guests.
Dope. And then there's other times where I'm like way the hell in the back by myself.
People
it's like a big old, it's like a big ass table for 6 people, and I'm the only one sitting there just with my meal. Like, everybody's looking like, look at that fucking loser.
And see, that's the cool thing about being a videographer is that there's a lot of weddings where you won't like a photographer won't shoot with a video, but video always shoots with a photographer. You know, like there's always a photographer hired. You know, so that's like the cool thing. There's always a buddy.
Another one, and not to say that. Sometimes the people who go are assholes because I've been some videographers where I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing. My mentor was the one that taught me. He's like, the whole like be good friends with the photographer and the wedding planner, and you most likely get work later. And that's the funny thing is both Fido and I like. The first thing that I taught him, and it was the first thing that I learned, was photography is priority. You know, like you're not better than the photographer. You know, so when you go in to the wedding with that mentality, all of a sudden, like the first thing I tell the photographer, I'm like, if I'm in your way, tell me. Like you are first in line, you know. And I think that helps me out a lot, just because they're like, oh, he knows this place here, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know about. Like, especially even with him, like, if we did something, we tell each other the same thing. We're like, yo, if we're in each other's way, like, I treat it as, like, I know that you're the video person, dude, but you're still a video person, and I don't think of myself, like, higher than you. Yeah. But, I mean, you're right. Like, usually it's the photo's a priority thing, because that's kind of what they... Like you said, video people usually get hired second or last compared to the photo person. But to me, it's like, hey, man, I don't want to get in your way. Yeah. Like, if I'm in your way, just tell me. It's like kind of leaving
your ego at home because you're not there to promote yourself.
You're not there like, to shoot their I'm the photographer, so I'm gonna do that on Saturday. Like, get the fuck out of my way, bro. You peasant.
Can I push back against this just for a second? Yeah. So wait, how do you deliver videos? Is it like the one like highlight video?
So I do like depending on what they want. It's either 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 10 highlight video, and then on top of that, I give them the edited ceremony with like the the microphone, the speeches, cake cutting, anything worth capturing, like first look. I give it to them on a USB later. But yeah, so
because so I'm gonna do this just for purposes of debate. But like, okay, you can get a picture from anywhere. But then if the video gets messed up right in the middle, then what do you do? You know what I mean? So who goes first?
But this is the great thing about being a videographer is when Fido first started.
Well, if you have different angles, then that works.
But even that there, what was it, like my third wedding? I missed the first kiss.
Ooh. No.
The tripod camera stopped recording. I missed the first kiss, and dude, I like went home and I was like, I need to give them their money back. You know, called my mentor and he's like, just try to do something. You know, and the way that I made the video was like, I don't know if someone got in front of me or. I think I tried to pick up my camera, and when I thought that it wasn't recording already, so when I pressed record, I stopped the recording. So like instead of using the ceremony kiss, I used like a sunset kiss. Never had a clue, never noticed a difference. So after that, I realized like the cool thing about videography is that you can tell whatever story you want, and you can get away with it.
Even if it's not like in order.
Yeah. And even there's one time, he's probably gonna get mad at me for calling him out. Fido. The way that it was when he first started, his settings were off, so his ISO was like
cranked
so it was super grainy, the footage was. And I was able to make it seem like I did it on purpose. Like I made like the guys look like it was old film, but then and they're like they never noticed, and I hope
just like this cool.
I hope they're not watching. They're like, wait, what?
But I mean, you're creative, man.
No, but that's the cool part about it, there's if you miss the first kiss on photos,
it's kind of screwed. Yeah, because they want to see that photo. I almost did that at a wedding once, where like I almost missed it because my camera was just tweaking and not wanting to focus, and then I like managed to just flip the switch really quick, and I'm like, thankfully they kissed for a while. Because I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if you get married, can you hold that damn kiss?
Kiss twice.
Like anybody watching, if you're any of the people whose wedding I'm doing this year. Hold your damn kiss for like 5 seconds at least.
Also, okay. Do you?
What are you about to say? You clowning right now.
Is it weird for you when they actually like make out and they're like really going for it?
No, I mean I think it's part of the job now. But
I don't know, man. Sometimes I see them, I'm like,
awkward, yeah.
bro, like you guys are really going in right now.
There's been times when even on couple session, I'm like, can you guys kiss? And they're over here like,
I know, yeah, just like,
yo, I'm like, I just meant like a casual kiss, but
well, I always get
man.
like the photographers who will
That's a good point.
Will
'Cause
enable that, you know. Like I had one where they jumped into Lake Tahoe, and when they got out. When they got out, they were like, the photographer made her get on him like while the water was coming. It was like very like sexual, but it was beautiful photos, you know. But yeah. And it was funny because my little brother was there and he's 18, and I was like, cover your eyes, man.
Axel, don't look.
I just know there was this one time and I would see tongue and a bunch of things and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been there too, bro. It happens more than you would think.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. You ever seen the meme of the guy who's holding the camera all sad and he's like, can I leave now, guys?
but it's funny because I think I would rather have that than like the couples who like will kiss him like, what do we do now?
Dude,
it's like,
oh my God.
Just be you know?
Yeah,
like,
I've been there so many times where they're just like,
just enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What was that?
Or like if they do a first look, you like turn around and like see her and be like
he looks at you.
Now? It's like no, just keep.
It's like look at her. Yeah, I've been there. It's so funny that you say that because when I've had couples who are like, I'm doing a first look, I'm like, literally pretend I'm not there.
Yeah.
I am not there. I'm like, if I have to sit in that damn bush with like a 400 to 600 millimeter so you don't see me, then I will. But it's like pretend I'm not there because you just need to focus on what's going on.
But then I see it from the other side too because it's so easy to like.
It's just a camera.
But I've had like photos taken of me and I'm like, okay.
Dude, I was. Oh my God! I'm sure you guys seen like
Chop over here.
Chop was a model, bro. He's a whole ass model. He's gonna quit photography. He's gonna move to LA and just model.
Have you seen that YouTube video of like the model who they're just taking a bunch of shots and you just like.
I know, yeah.
That's him, bro.
One after the other. Yeah, that's me, man. I go in, man.
Chava has a tripod with the timer, the button, just like.
He's like, screw photography. I'm just gonna model for a living.
The last ones we did that, yes.
He's about to put his rates on.
It's hard when you put yourself in front of it, you know. So that's why I kind of want to do it, just to like get comfortable and be like, I know what it feels like.
Yeah. Now
try to like do this or do that, you know. But
no,
all right, Tony, we're getting to the end of this, man. Do you have some projects coming up for this year? Just weddings or
anything else you want to tell us about?
Mainly weddings.
No, that's pretty much it, man. I'm like super excited just for this new like venture. You know.
When are you guys doing that giveaway?
February 1st.
Oof, that's coming up.
Coming up.
And that's actually what I want to talk about. It's crazy, like limiting beliefs. Like you think like. When we did that whole promotion, I was like, man, what if like 2 people share? What if it's only our sisters or, you know, whatever? And it was like 220 people shared. And it just goes to show that like you need to stop being so afraid of like what you think is going to happen and start like just doing it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know?
That's facts. Yeah. So, we've talked about this a lot of like self-doubt.
You have to work on it, man. Because like I said, it comes back.
Yeah.
You know? If you let it get to your head, it'll come back. And
I remember like months ago, bro, I talked to him like, why don't you run like monthly specials? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't think people are going to get them. Mm-hmm. Started doing them, all sold out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just go for it, bro.
Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy too.
Especially like, I think when other people like see your work outside from you, and if it's someone who's in your work field and they're telling you to do something, clearly it's because like, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, like, I may talk a lot of shit to him, but I love him. You know, and I know he's super talented. And I've always tell him that he's really talented. He's a great dude. So it's like, I've always been like, bro, just do this. Because, like, you're going to get
such a great guest, dude.
Yeah,
you're such a great guest for our podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, man. I'm glad I'm making episode number 1 of the podcast like really good. You know?
Yeah, dude. I love it.
It's just, you know, like when other people in your field are telling you like, yo, you're doing a great job, or like you should do this, you should do that. Those are the people you want to listen to more than anything.
Yeah.
Because like they know what they're doing too, so they're like, hey, I see that potential and should just go for it. So,
and I think, you know, I won't try to get too long of a tangent, but like there's this I don't know if it was a quote or a meme I saw a while back, and it was like, one day I want to toss my passport to my kids and just tell them to live up to it, you know. And it always stuck to me. And now when I make videos, like my travel videos or stuff, I always think about, you know, my future kids being like, oh, dad was cool, you know, he's boring as hell now, but now
he's boring as hell.
And it's funny because I got to this point. I always say high talk. I don't even smoke weed, but I always have these like high thoughts, and I'm like, my kids won't see these videos because I'm too scared of what other people are going to think of these videos. So I'm letting these people determine what my kids get to see of my life, you know. Which even if, like you said, your 45-second videos, one day your kids will watch those videos and be like, whoa, like dad used to be cool,
like,
you know.
You used to go out of state.
Yeah. So
like, dad didn't give no fucks.
Yeah.
He's like, he was really out here making 1-minute videos of Oregon.
So it's just like those like even like I have a Thailand video that I made probably like 6 years ago, and it's awful, but I love watching it, man, because it's
memories.
You forget, you don't care about like your talent in editing, but you care about like the memories, you know. So.
You appreciate it that much more once time goes by, and you're like, oh fuck, man, that's cool.
So.
One day he's gonna be like to his kids, yo, I used to vlog. It's 3 vlogs.
I used to have this podcast with this guy.
He's gonna be like,
in a pandemic for 40 years.
What the fuck is a vlog? You loser. By that time, vlogs are gonna be like non-existent. They'll be like, you used to record yourself physically with a camera. They're gonna have like holograms and shit.
That podcast was called the Carne Asada
podcast. Born on episode 12 of For Creators by Creators.
There you
podcast.
go, you got it.
I got it, man. Man, 12 episodes.
Crazy.
That's insane.
I think we.
Are you sure it's 12? Is it not 13?
No,
It's 12.
it's 12.
It's 12.
I'm pretty sure.
Kari?
Yeah, Kari.
Didn't she say hers was 12?
No.
Mike's last week was just 11.
11.
So you're 12th number one.
Yeah, you got to be 12.
Yeah, we've done basically 2 episodes were us, and the rest have been guests. So 10 guests so far.
You know, I don't know. We should have brought you earlier, honestly.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw Chef on here, I was like, I don't want to be on this.
You're like, they chose Chef over me. It was just like, I think we chose Chef because like, he had never met him.
Dude, it's funny, man.
Like,
Chef,
you know,
me and him haven't really hung out. But we'll run into each other at the gym and have these like crazy heart-to-hearts while we're like stretching.
Yeah. And
it's just like we talk about life. We were both going through a breakup at the same time, so we'd like just sit there and stretch.
Bro.
Before even like working out. I'm like, eventually.
No, he's got a girl now.
Well, yeah.
You guys see that?
He's thriving. I'm so happy for my man.
And it's funny, man, because you get to this age where you start complimenting people on their happiness. And I literally messaged him. And I was like, dude, I don't remember what I said, but it was something like cheesy, you know, like you look happy, man.
Yeah, I literally, that's funny because like 2-3 days ago, he posted something. I'm like, bro, I'm so happy for you. Like, you have no idea.
Man.
And he's like, thanks,
he
bro.
looks so
like,
happy.
Yeah. It's so great to like, I think when you start appreciating other people's happiness, you know you're in a good spot.
It's funny how this podcast went from me starting to say that your life is ending when you get in a relationship to like, man, I'm happy
like,
for Shaq.
Yo, that's dope, bro. You're dating?
Cool.
Let's go.
What do you have going on? Do you have a girl or what?
No, man. Not right
Your
now.
handsome ass ain't taken.
I know,
dude,
girls.
I think, dude, I'm gonna be honest, man. 2020 was
Don't
like
waste your time. This is
2020 was me focusing so much more on other people that towards the end of 2020 I went to this life coaching thing actually.
Oh, you did?
And it kind of made me realize like if you know, we all have it where like when you don't want something is when all of a sudden the things that you want start showing up, you know?
Yeah.
So I started focusing more on like me and just like personal happiness, family, friends, you know? And I'm happy now, man. It's like, I'll tell a quick story. Like last year for New Year's Eve, I was like, I think it was like 11:50 and I'm like looking around like all stressed out because I'm like, I'm not gonna have a New Year's kiss, you know? And I'll be honest with you guys, I was like bummed. Whereas this year, I was like with my friends in New Orleans and I was just like so happy, man. Because once you change your mindset, it's just completely different, you know? And I remember I went with my best friend and his wife and they live in Texas, so it was just nice like catching up with them. And instead of like me, like, I realized this the next day, but like instead of me looking around and being like bummed, I literally pulled out my phone and was like recording them like super close because I'm like, I want them to have this later, you know? Yeah. So like how you said it, when you start like being happy for other people's happiness is when...
It's because you're happy.
Yeah.
Man, this got cheesy, right?
That's some deep
what
shit,
we do on
bro.
Carne Asada podcast.
This is facts. Like,
This is the Carne Asada podcast. We talk about everything.
Hey, we're gonna change the name to
Nothing is
Sad Boys Podcast.
but that's the thing that made me realize, like 2020, it's the year that nobody wanted, but it's the year that we all needed, you know? Like, that's what I keep saying, you know? But, like, for me, I noticed that, like, I'm so over, like, these, like, surface layer conversations. Like, I need, like, substance, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'll meet people and immediately start getting, like, probably like with Chef, like how we would get in those, you know, talks. And like even when I messaged you and like I was in my feelings, you know, I don't remember what I said, but I was like,
he's like, I'm sad. I'm sad.
No, I was like, what did I say?
I'm like, bro, you need a friend or something? I'm just
like, you good, Tony?
No, like something about like being I remember happy for you like doing it, you know, like
because I was like hustling, you know, working a lot, and you were just like I respect that. I respect the hustle, and I appreciate it, man. Like I respect.
Anders, if you want the same message, you need to work harder, man.
I'm sorry. I was just as busy. Yo, this is some shade. You got favorites out here? Who's the one that messaged you to come, bro? Okay,
that's what you get for being late.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap it. I'm just playing.
Well, we are.
I mean,
you wanna plug yourself?
You tell us your handles where people can find you so they can hit you up. Because
I hope they saw your like for 15 minutes before
rehearsing.
No, because I just changed my handle, so everything right now that I do, it's like at Tony Castaneda Film. No, it's at Castaneda Films _ because somebody already took Castaneda.
Oh damn, that sucks.
Yeah, so and then Tony _ Castaneda. But yeah, man.
We wish to, you know, hopefully 2021 is a good year for everybody.
And please let us know if you ever want to hang out.
Yeah, man.
We need friends too.
Yeah. Dude,
we need friends who have more free time.
Do you have a girlfriend or no?
I do, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Hell yeah, man.
I thought you were going to say no. Wait, does he or not?
Nah.
You're going to lie to all those people who are assuming you have a girl, and you come on here and tell all these lies?
I don't, man. It's been interesting.
And with that said,
we're gonna wrap up episode number 12. Chabo's about to start going into his love life. Nah, bro, we ain't trying to talk about you.
Yolanda, I miss you, man.
Oh my god.
No me dejes.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
No, man, thank you for coming,
bro.
We appreciate it. We wish you the best this upcoming year.
We hope to see you more often.
Yeah, we'll drink because he doesn't like to drink. But
yeah, he's a bitch. But
dude, I took that shot like a champ, honestly.
You feeling it? You look a little drowsy, fam. Are you just tired?
I'm tired, bro. I've been working all day. What do you expect?
All right. Goddamn.
All right.
He's so defensive when he drinks, isn't he?
All right, we're out.
Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next announcement, the next guest. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Mr. Tony.
Right on.
And yeah. All right. That's a wrap.
Peace out, everybody.
Let's go.
All right, let's cut it.
Just keep this up. Can we get over it? Haven't we had enough? Can we get over it? Or are we too deep enough? Can we get over it? No. Can we get over it? No. Just let me be honest.